Hello everybody, this is Toys R Us, and for this new figure showcase and review we're going to be looking at Legacy United Magmatron. So what we're going to do first and foremost then, let's have a quick look at the packaging, because I'm sure you'll all agree the artwork is absolutely stunning. We've got the lovely Legacy United logo at the bottom, we've got all three members there. When we spin it round to the back we can see of course what the toy is. You've just seen him for yourself there, but there's no actual images of the combined mode in the dinosaur, which of course I'm going to be showing you in this video as well. So let's have a look at the figure then. And this figure, to be honest, for me it's one of them ones that I don't know what it is, I don't know what it's got, but whatever it is it's got, it has got it in abundance. Now obviously anybody who knows this channel or knows me knows that I completely love Generation 1 figures, and that's probably mainly due to the nostalgia effect, having them as a kid, and in all, you know, just genuinely absolutely loving them. Now when I saw this figure, I don't know how I can say it or what it is. I've got no affiliation with it. I've never seen the cartoon. I haven't read a comic with it in. I've not seen, the only thing I've seen is an advert for the toy that I've put on this channel. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know their individual names until I read the instructions, but it's just insane, and in hand it is just even better. I've literally just said to my wife, I think that's probably the biggest thing for me why I like it so much, is who thinks of things like this. I mean, the whole concept initially, you know, of a robot in a car was crazy, but this takes things to a completely other level. I've never seen anything like it. It is huge, it is great, and hopefully I can do a good enough job of getting that across to you, as I say, even with my limited knowledge of the character and indeed the figure. So when he comes packaged, he comes in robot mode. Of course this shield is separately packaged. Let me just take it off, and indeed so are these bits on the wings here. I've just pulled all these off. The wings, if you're wondering, are a bit of a soft rubber, so there's loads of play or ply, whatever you want to call it. I'd call it play because it moves quite a lot, so they're really soft. They're not, as I say, sharp whatsoever, and you've just got to do a little bit of tidying up, which I think I've done. I've had a look at the instructions. I'll show you what else comes in the package. You get this large sword, which I think is going to double up maybe some part of a tail. We'll see in a second. This is obviously going to be some part of the I think it's not a Tyrannosaurus, it's something else. We've got this, which is going to be part of Caesaurus, if I use the names that I've seen in the instruction book, which is the shield. There's the wings, and then the 7 redecoed blast effects from the Omega Supreme mold, I believe. But what I've seen that you can do is you can pop this into there, and you can put the blade inside the top of that. That is one of the little features that it is in fact advertising in the instructions. So you've got like a sort of super blade or a blast effect blade, and again it looks pretty cool. The figure itself though, this is where, as I say, this is just, it's nuts. So the head, it looks about a little bit. It's obviously heavily restricted due to it's got two I can't even pronounce it, Kescaltosaurus. I'm not going to say pterodactyl because it's not the flying one of them. It's got the wings attached to the back of his head. The shoulders are on ratchets, which is stunning. They will go out to the side. They will go around a little bit. They're obviously going to be restricted, but if we move these out of the way, we can bring that down. Is there a waist swivel? There is a waist swivel as well, which I wasn't expecting. You've just got to move some of these parts down at the back. There is a swivel at the bottom of the shoulder. There's a bicep, which is on a ratchet as well. There's a wrist swivel. There is some finger articulation. It's not too great, to be honest. They're not individually articulated fingers, but again they do enough for the accessories and everything that it can carry. The legs themselves, again, ratchets, loads of ratchets. Actually, we've got the hip, not the shoulder. We've got the hip, which will kick forwards. It'll come backwards. It's a little, again, restricted by what's all going on there. You've got a swivel. I think we've got a swivel at the nail. You've got the knee bend, we've got the ankle tilt, pivot, rock, and then you can move the toes. Well, on the ankle you can move them. I think you can move this one. I'm not too sure. It looks like you can. No, that'll be for something else. That's probably for the other mode, but again, fully articulated, exactly what you'd expect for a commander class figure. But what we want to really see, I think, I'm just gonna have to lift this up a little bit, it's just the details in and around the torso and the bust. It's nuts. I need to see the person who invented this, who, you know, what ran through his mind to think, I'm going to take 3 dinosaurs, I'm going to combine them to make them look like this. I think that's what's got me so much. It's again, something that I've never seen before. I'll probably never see anything like it again in my life. And it's just pure genius. This is, of course, from the wings, which you've seen me take off. You can use them as blades. This was attached, funnily enough, via that stopper there onto the back of his forearm, if you were wondering. And of course this went in the hand as well. Not too sure if you can store them elsewhere. We'll have a look at that in a second, but let's have a look at this torso. So you've got the Cesaurus neck, which is attached on there. If you wanted to, you can open and articulate the jaw there. The head sculpt is, again, just insanely detailed. It's really, really good. The gold on it just reflects lovely. These are clipped in over the top. They actually remind me a little bit of this guy, Tiger Hawk, which is now tiny compared to this. And again, it should be. The price, you know, the price point difference between these is very big. This in the UK is retailing at about £90 now, and I think it's what, about 128, 130 to the dollar. So, you know, well over $110, which is what it costs us in the UK. There's no other accessories to come with him. I just want to say, when I spin him round, okay, you could probably say he's a bit of a mess from the back. And again, I apologize straight away if I've got this wrong. I thought I have it right. It looks like it is right. This is one of them figures where it is all about how he looks from the front, and I always give all of the figures a get out of jail card with that, because most people, let's be honest, are only going to be displaying from the front. With regards to some other size comparisons in this particular mode, I'll use some newer figures. So we've got some Voyager figures here, which are up to about the waist. Yeah, about the waist for the Voyager figures, maybe just a fraction more. But I suppose let's have a quick look at some other figures, just depending on the toy line that you collect. There is a Generation 1 Prime, again about up to the waist. He's probably going to be bigger than Masterpiece Soundwave. Yes, he is. Even the head is higher than Masterpiece, so you're getting a good Masterpiece sort of sized figure here, which I suppose in some way does make up for that, you know, really high price point. I don't think there's anything more to say about this particular mode, apart from, hopefully you can tell that I'm more than impressed with it. What we'll do now with the video, we're going to have a look at the individual beast or dinosaur modes, and then the next part of the video will be them all combined. And of course I do aim to get the transformation process video up as well, but I'm not expecting this guy to be easy at all, due to just the amount of things that are going on with him. It looks like these guns can come out, but I don't think it doesn't say anything in instructions about them. I think that's all for the other modes, but if I'm wrong, I'll come back and correct myself. And to be honest, that is all there is to say, I think, about this particular mode. I'm blown away already by this. There we go, let's move on. Right then, so I've took him apart. Quick reminder that the transformation process is going to be separately uploaded. That is to keep the main length of this particular video down and not to spoil for people who don't want to see it. So we've got the first dinosaur, and what I really like about this is they've made it really simple for people like myself. They've gone Skysaurus, Landosaurus and Cesaurus, because I can never pronounce whatever it is, a saurus, as you can tell very well. I tend to mess that up. So let's have a look at this particular member first, and this is of course the smallest member. So this is easily what I would class as a deluxe size figure, and pretty much let's prove that. So there's obviously a deluxe size figure there. Here's another deluxe size figure there, so it gives you an idea. It's easily as big. With the wingspan, it's absolutely huge, to be honest. And I've also noticed a few other things, and again, I need to correct myself, guys. I missed out quite a few things on the robot, so I'm going to be going back to the main robot at the end. Look, you've got the lovely faction symbol orb there on the underside of the wing, which is fantastic. Now, considering this is the most basic, I'm sure you'll agree it looks pretty good. You've got articulation at the hips, at the knees, at the ankles, on both sides. You've got articulation in the wings. These can be turned up and down. They can be extended out and in. So, I mean, that's a huge wingspan. The neck has got 2 points of articulation on it there. The head can spin all the way around on a ball and socket. The jaw does open. The gold is reflective. The hands are on ball and sockets, which are brilliant. And you can, of course, take these off because these were the weapons that you saw with the main particular robot mode. So considering this is the most basic, even the detail, you know, of the skin is in there. This is the most basic, but it's also pretty good. I'm just wondering if I could put these in where the screw holes are. No, you actually can't. So you can only actually locate and attach these in these little ports on the underside of the wing, which I suppose is good because it keeps them there for safekeeping. So there is the Skysaurus. Let's bring in the Seasaurus. Now this is very impressive, and again also huge, absolutely massive. I know of course most of it is obviously the length of the neck, but I've got a fans hobbies Firefly figure here, which is a masterpiece size jet, and it is bigger, way bigger by more than a nose, to be honest. And the good thing about this, well, there's good and bad things, so hopefully I can show you. First and foremost, let's get the bad things out of the way, and that is the underside of the neck. You can see they haven't filled in. I don't know why. Maybe because they spent all the money in the articulation, because that's of course the good thing. So the bad thing is underneath the neck, but the good thing is you've got a ball there. So you've got articulation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even 6 points on this neck. And if they're not just going around the ball and socket, they're going up and down, they're twisting side to side. You can open, of course, the jaw like so. So huge amounts of articulation there. You've got articulation in each fin or flipper, whatever you want to call it. Not only do they go backwards and forwards, they also move in and out. These ones just go backwards and forwards. And as you can see, I've not fully clipped that down. Even the detailing on the skin, of course, again, the details are there, the different shades. It's so good, and indeed so impressive. Really good, to be honest, really good. And I would class this, I suppose, as a leader class figure. It's easily as big as a leader class figure, so it looks like you're getting 2 leader class and a core class pretty much into this huge concoction, combining completely mental monster, to be honest. Let me just bring in some other figures just to give you an idea. Oops, there goes one. So that's a very large. We know that these Seekers are quite big for Voyager, and as you can see, again, way bigger. Even if you're just talking the main body is probably about the same length, but the rest of it is in fact much bigger. Just looks really good with everything, to be honest. And as I say, these are good 3 standalone figures by themselves. And exactly that, I do think they look really good individually. The robot mode, as I say, was fantastic. Let's have a quick look now at Landsaurus, and then we'll have a look at the Magmasaurus mode as well. So let's have a look at, of course, Landsaurus now. So here he is then, and just about fitting on camera. He is huge, and I'm going to be calling him, as I say, Landsaurus. So as I said, if the Skysaurus was a deluxe, the other one was easily a Voyager, probably a leader class as well, maybe. This definitely is leader class size, because there is leader class Megatron, of course, from Kingdom, and the dimensions on this guy are pretty much the same, to be fair. Easily, it's just as big, just as tall, and yeah, as I say, probably just as articulate. Let's have a quick look at him then. So there is a couple of things that aren't the greatest with him, and I'll show you that in a second. The first and foremost being, if you lift the neck up, it looks like he's been attacked, and it does, you know, that literally just lifts up. There's nothing there at all. You can't cover that gap up as soon as you move the head up. The jaw doesn't open very wide. That's perhaps being a little bit too pedantic, to be fair, but the head will look left to right. As I say, we can see it looks up. It doesn't, or does it really? I don't really want to force it down, not that I think that it needs to. The little arms are on ball and sockets, which is great. The tail, you can see, has got one. Is it one or just 2? Maybe just 1 point of articulation. This was the sword, funnily enough, which attached in the other mode. This, as you can see, can be done for weapon storage, or indeed just to finish off the overall aesthetics of the tail. Now the legs themselves, again, unfortunately, when you do pull them out, there's huge gaps on the inside there. But to be honest, I say it's not too bad, but it's not the greatest. You can't really move the legs. They do sort of have to stay there. It's only the knees you can move at the ratchets. The toes will move, and then these are the parts that, again, I need to show you in more detail when he's in Magmatron mode. But you can still see, as I say, I think he displays really quite well. He still looks good. We've got the nice white going down there. You can obviously tell it's a dinosaur. And I always sort of say when they make these figures, it's mind-blowing to me how they sort of do them. Same with the Megs mold, you know, it's really difficult to get them to transform, and this is obviously pretty much the main part of a standing, he's not a robot, is he? A standing, I don't know what to call it. And then of course there is another mode which we're going to be looking at very shortly. In fact, we're going to look at that next. So let me just bring them all back in. Let's see if we can keep them all sort of on screen, just to give you an idea. As I say, yeah, these are at least leader class scale figures, definitely. And he's got to be at least, I wonder if I can get him to balance on his back just for a second. Probably not. Oh, I can. There you go. Let's at least turn his head around to have a look at us. So there's all three of them, all of the Sauruses: Sky, Land and Sea Saurus. Let's move on to the next combined mode. Okay then, so here he is in his combined beast mode, as known as Magmasaurus. And I know I've used this word too much already with regards to this figure, but there's nothing else I can think apart from insane. It's just incredible. I've had the privilege of interviewing a couple of the current Hasbro designers at the moment on this channel, but I would love to, if you could speak enough English, speak to the designer of this figure, because I can't fathom in my head how you would come to anything even remotely like this. It's just insane. It's spectacular as well. It is huge. So we've already seen, I think, did I bring in the leader class Megatron in the other section? There's so many sections to this video now, I need to go back and watch them all. So again, it's way bigger than your leader class, which you'd expect it to be. Obviously these are Voyager class vehicles. What else have we got here? I've got a Masterpiece Soundwave figure, which is huge, and it's way longer than that. I like to bring this figure in because at the moment I keep doing loads of dinosaur videos, so that just sort of makes me chuckle. Right, there's a couple of things though that I've noticed in the instructions, and it does say about lifting the Skysaurus's head up and turning it this way as well, even though it does fit perfectly into there, even via that tab. I've also moved the legs away. I think you're supposed to sort of keep them tabbed, but obviously you want the articulation in them. So because you can do that, you've got articulation at the top of the leg, what is the knee, and of course is what is the claws, because it's the fists. Of course, you've got exactly the same articulation in the big legs, the same with the wings. You can move these in and out. It's just nuts. It really is nuts. And of course, the negative thing, you can see that there's quite a few gaps here on the sides, but that's probably due to the sheer size of it. And again, getting them all together as one for me is still just impressive enough. It looks good, it goes well together. Let me just see if I can show you anything else. The other negative thing I pointed out, obviously though, when we looked at the Sea Saurus, is the back of the neck. It is quite obvious when you're turning that up, but I suppose when this way, the cool thing is that all of the heads are visible, all of the jaws are open and closable. You can move the necks, yep, on them all, which again is just a great little feature. Even the little arms, of course, all still move. So basically all the Land Saurus's articulation is there, some of the Sea Saurus's is, but you've got more, because obviously you've got these which are folded up inside. The flippers, or the fins, whatever you want to call them, move backwards and forwards on all four of them. We already seen all the articulation points in the neck. That's all obviously exactly the same. And you could make him look like he's walking, etc. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. But I do think now, very quickly, I do have to come back, show you the robot mode again, because having a play around with it, having a go at the actual transformation, etc., there was a few things that unfortunately I did miss, and I do want to do this figure all the justice that I can, because again, it's an expensive figure, and you know, I think obviously it does warrant that, the fact that there's so many things on here, even things I say that I've missed, and I just quickly want to go back and show you. But there is the Magmasaurus mode, which unfortunately isn't even on the back, isn't even on the box. Right, there we go, back for the final time then with him back in his robot mode. So we are back for the final time, and because in all honesty it's taken me weeks to do this, I started the review of this figure before I went to Comic-Con, but then of course I went to Comic-Con and loads of things happened since then. However, as I pretty much predicted I would do earlier on in the video, I said I'll come back if I've missed anything, and of course it appears that I have. So let's show you what was at the back. I just checked back, and in the first part I said that these claws, the metal bits, probably weren't for this mode. Well, of course we do know that they are, especially for this mode. We've got the heel sprues, which which fold out 2 parts, and we've got all these parts here as well which come out of the back of the legs. It does create a big hole in the back, unfortunately, but this is how it is supposed to go for that particular robot mode. I've also now been able to pick up on, again, things that I just didn't notice at all. Like, we've got all the orbs, you know, all of the symbols, they're visible all for all 3 of the beasts in this particular mode. So there we've got, you can see that's from the Landosaurus, that's of course from Skysaurus, and from Seasaurus is there. So that's just a couple of little things extra that I've picked up on it, to be honest. Again, hopefully I've managed to do this guy some justice, because he's just spectacular. And yeah, it's just literally, still looking at it now, I've took this into work, etc. I've seen a few people and everybody's just stopped and looked and gone, what is that? And that's exactly, I think, what this figure does. Just a last quick couple size comparisons. Missing link. Transformers 1, as I say, he's not as big as Jetfire. He's obviously way bigger than some of the other figures that they've released that come out, like Rodimus's thing, which I brought in because Rodimus is only about a Voyager class, and as I say, that's how big it is on there. But to be honest, again, I'm not going to talk any more about this figure. This video is long enough as it is. It is an absolute must for me, I think. Even if you've got no affiliation, like I said at the beginning, if you've got no affiliation of the character, if you want something that's got some shelf, you know, presence, then this is your figure. Look at it. The colour scheme is insane. I've said that word too many times as well. I've got nothing more to say about this apart from it is great. Let me know in the comments if you've got one, or if you're thinking of getting one, or what I could perhaps say to twist your arm to, in fact, get one. Because, yeah, you can tell by my glowing report, and if you could see my big smiley face right now, it's definitely, probably, it's up there in my top 3 figures of the year already without even trying. Anyway, guys, there you go. This is Legacy Evolution Commander Class Magmatron.